I think David's great speech was a segue into our panel. We have really good speakers from different parts of Europe and maybe now a Turkish resident to talk about different parts of the investment spectrum, all the way from angel to early stage to later stage investments. So I'll let panelists maybe quickly do an intro and about themselves and about the fund, and then we'll dive into the meat of the conversation about where the opportunities are, next wave of opportunities are in Turkey.
Okay. Is it working? Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Joachim Behrendt. I'm not that much Turkish, but I have to admit I'm living here for 20 years, so I'm somewhere in the middle. I started as an academician in Turkey. I went to London back. I was an entrepreneur a long time. I'm still an entrepreneur. Then I founded an angel network. So now I have an angel group, and we are trying to support the Turkish economy and our startups and ourselves with making investments in Turkish startups.
Good afternoon, Tomasz Danis. I'm a partner at MCI Management, which is the largest venture capital in Poland with 500 million euro assets under management. And with the profession, I'm ex-Rocket Internet, ex-McKinsey and LinkedIn guy. So also being an active angel investor is in a couple of businesses. So having view across early stage to expansion.
I bet you have some Rocket Internet alumni here. Are there? Well, no.
And I'm Victor. I work for Moscow office of Almas Capital. We are American fund with a majority of investors, institutional investors from United States and Europe and so on. And for example, one of our investors, IFC, they're based in Istanbul, just an example. And we are almost $300 million fund, assets under management. And we invest heavily in a bridge model. We call it bridge model. So when we bring companies from local national markets to, we call it actually global market, but actually we assume United States market, because if company is able to compete in the United States, it's able to compete everywhere, like so. And also we invest into companies with some Russian roots, based everywhere in the world.
Okay, that's great. So I'm not going to get into a political joke of having a Polish guy in between a German and a Russian investor.
But reaching out to Turkey.
Yes. So, okay,
he's
let's
buffering
get this
us,
going.
don't worry.
But I wanted to first start with before getting into the specific areas of investing in Turkey, I want to understand your thesis about Turkey. Can you walk us through about why Turkey, what do you see in Turkey, and how do you plan to execute that thesis of investing in Turkey? And again, you know, from angel angle, we have the early stage and the late stage side.
Well, I'm kind of a host, at least by being located in Turkey for a long time. I have to say, I came back from UK, I came back from US because I saw many more opportunities for investment, especially early stage investments in Turkey, if I compare this to developed countries. So there are many more market niches opening. I'm not aiming to invest into, let's say, disruptive innovation. The probability of finding this in a country like Turkey is not that high. You may find it, but it's more coincidence. But process innovation, opening new markets, going into the markets is very attractive. So we have an ecosystem that developed the last couple of years. I'm teaching at Bosphorus University. First course 3-4 years ago, I had to scratch together 15 students. This semester, I had more than 100 applications. The topic is getting famous. People are accepting this as a professional career path. And on the other side, you can see the investors are getting more mature as well. So there's a development in Turkey, and I'm pretty sure it will develop in the right direction. It will take time, but I think Turkey is one of the prime locations for early stage investments.
Okay.
I think for us, Turkey is sort of mirroring Poland or Central Eastern Europe. It's a large market with lots of opportunities, pretty big country, so very prone to do online businesses. I would resonate what Joachim said, that we're not looking here for like disruptive businesses. We rather are looking here for like expansion in the areas that we know how they develop in Western Europe and Central Europe in Turkey, and replicate very successful models with, let's say, lots of experience we already have in these. So we hope to fail less and commit fewer mistakes. But I think in general, this is fast-growing country, large population, I think there's still lots of simple businesses still to be improved, like starting from all the e-commerce to the software. Rather not that much on high-tech, very disruptive businesses.
And as I said, we are doing a bridge model, and so we are actually last half a year we expanded our bridge model from former USSR and part of Eastern Europe to entire Europe and other emerging markets and so on. So it's just kind of geographical expansion of our model, which we already know how it works, and we're trying to expand it geographically. That's it. And Turkey is, as I said, World Bank is an investor of our fund based in Istanbul. We discussed a few times that how Turkey is similar to Russia and so on, and we decided to move it. Even some people here talk in Russian, so that's...
Yeah, so that helps. So in terms of how you're going to execute that thesis, especially two of you guys, how much money do you plan to allocate to Turkish market in the next few years? Any specifics there, or?
So maybe I jump start. So basically, we're having 3 funds in MCI: early stage, growth stage, and expansion. And for early stage, we're not looking here. What we're looking for is growth stage and expansion. So
what is it for you?
So exactly. So for us, it's like minority stake for, let's say, $3-5 million at least, up to, let's say, $20-40 million, but then it would have to be like very big companies. I think that our focus is companies where we can still put $3-5-7 million for minority stake, which would be significant minority, like 20-25%, but this range. And I think our, if everything goes well, if there's no, let's say, external disruptions, I think we're planning to deploy like 20-30 million maybe of US dollars within the next 2 years. That's how we think of it. Let's say 1-2 this mid-size investments every year.
Okay. Do you have anything like that, Victor, from the Almas side?
I don't think that we have some specific geographic allocation. It depends completely on quality of companies. That's it. I don't know. It's tough to predict. So we can invest any money starting from 1-2 million per one company and up to 10-15 million of dollars per one company, long life cycle. So I don't know. It's not about like geography. But
in terms of your sweet spot and what stage and what kind of check size you're talking about, like when you look at the Turkish companies here?
Clearly it's early stage. It's A round, B round, and so on.
So anywhere from million to 5?
I think yes. It's,
okay.
It's correct.
Maybe Barış, let me add. I feel a bit ashamed of talking about numbers, hearing these numbers, but we are an angel network, so let me come from the other end. So if you're pitching to angel networks, very often you're coming, let's say, with more than an idea. You have a prototype or something. Normally, if you go to angel networks, the ticket size may vary per person around 20 to 50 to 100, maybe 200,000 tele, but then it ends already. That means if you really would like to get a 1 million Turkish lira together, the people need to group, they need to come together, so that means you have an angel network which gets in place. And I have to say on our side, big angel networks, the moment we are exceeding 1 million Turkish lira, we are starting to syndicate. We believe very, very much in cooperation. You know that there are 10 or 11 angel networks already. I personally believe, sorry, it's a little bit bullshit. I mean, it is nice to have the networks there, but basically how many active investors do you really have? And on the other side, how many attractive startups do you have? So there's a lot of, let's say, transaction costs, so we try to shorten that by talking to all angel networks, family offices, VC funds, and then we aim to go up to some couple of $1 million. But obviously there's a gap between what we try to finance and what you try to finance. So there's still, even if we aim high, there's a gap, and that will be this famous valley of death for startups. Even if you secure the first round, it will be very difficult to come to a stage that you're attractive for a VC fund.
So what you're saying, we need a post-seed fund or a pre-Series A fund, which is missing a...
It is missing. I mean, there are even two things missing. There's missing something between, let's say, the angels or angel groups and the VC funds, and the other part which is missing, which we realize as an angel network, if we encounter attractive startups from technology transfer offices, universities, they are ready with the incubation phase, but they are not ready for an angel investment. So even there's a pre, I don't know what seed part, which need to be covered. Partly it can be done by accelerators or accelerator funds, but we don't have it that much. So we are moving a little bit, in this respect, upstream, closer to the source of ideas, and we say we need to bridge this time. It's even less money, but it's much more mentorship, and it comes very close to what David just explained, what is the role of an angel? It is not just for the money, for the financial return. We need to go into that earlier. I think for the majority of startups, this is the main missing part, because applying to angels is sometimes quite difficult. Angel groups are not everybody's part, but having this angel combination of support and money is meaningful, and then having something like a fund between the angels and the VC funds, that is the next part that is missing.
Okay, so I was going to get into the investment areas, but let's keep it here, and then I want to first understand how you guys get your deal flow, because you mentioned about all your check size, sweet spots, and when you look at the room and then when you look at outside, most of those entrepreneurs doesn't come naturally to reach out to you, and they don't know the right paths. And how do they reach out to you? And how does Joachim reach to you guys? And how does that relationship work? So maybe we'll start from the angel side. Like, you know, how are these entrepreneurs going to get to not only you, but your angel network, your other friends? Because that's one of the tricky pieces. And then after that, obviously getting into the later stages with Victor's and Tomek's fund.
Again, as we heard already from David, you need to secure good deal flow, and I think this is the main job of an angel network. Put your efforts into seeing as many deals as possible, evaluate them properly, do some due diligence, and don't bother your investors with all type of, let's say, very early stage ideas. Select the top ones for them. We are seeing, in Big Angel Network, we are seeing around 50 startups a month. The best ones, to be frank, we are getting from universities. We are cooperating with the top universities in Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir. That is a very valuable source, but often lacking the commercial perspective. So this is one part where we get them. We have, of course, direct applications, and we have more and more recommendations from our partners. Because at the other end of the spectrum, we are working with, as I said, family offices, VC funds. They are our guests. They are joining our investor meetings. They're in very early. We try to have as many good connections as possible, because first we would like to hear their opinion. What is the perspective for this startup, for this market in this many years? And the second part, we would like to have them on board as early as possible to have a smooth transition to the next round.
Okay.
I think for us it's very specific for Turkey. In general, I would say if you want to reach us, you just reach out directly. If we see somewhere in the news, we look in who did the angel round, A round, you know, we follow these new companies. But there's unfortunately some legacy within Turkey. So for us, the best leads are actually from someone that we trust, and that is usually some early stage venture capital funds that usually do round A, so right after the business angels. I would say that the not so great news might be that I don't know that many of them actually being very active in Turkey. So there's what Johan said, there's definitely a gap between angel round and venture capital, let's say B round, because that's limiting the risk of maybe not that well organized company, and there's somewhere missing the A round part. So all our, let's say, deals that we really spending time on and we betting on are the ones that coming from, let's say, friends and family of the venture capital. Because we already know that they invested there, they put structure in it, the financials are somehow organized, there's no gray zone, it's all more transparent. And maybe these are not the best deals, but these are the ones that we feel most comfortable with. So I think that's the role of the founders, and the angels, that since they already there, they should come up with some very creative solution of having someone reputable on their cap table, investing in A round, that then can bring it to later stage investors. Like we would do early stage in Poland, we do it all the time. I wouldn't do it here in Turkey because I don't know market. I would always look for co-investment because that's my security of the capital to do it together, best case with Turkish venture capital, if not possible with someone, I don't know, maybe from Russia, maybe someone from region. It can be German ones. I know some German ones, VCs also investing here. Basically someone that we trust from other joint businesses. So that kind of pushes you off the later in the spectrum of getting into the later stages round, because you can find those early, now I don't want to say social proof, but some at least credibility of early stage investor, institutional investor, rather than an angel, to get some corporate governance, I guess, some structure done. Exactly.
Before getting in your money. What about you, Victor?
Yeah, I would add that Actually, for our fund, it doesn't matter where the deal came from, so it could be simply sent to presentations@almascapital.com.
So do you guys really look at those?
I mean that we literally read every mail we
Okay.
receive, but we physically cannot answer. We read and discuss inside us. So, and also, of course, some people may introduce for us. It doesn't matter the point of input to our fund. It doesn't matter. But I agree with guys that if it's a completely different country from our experience, it would be nice to have some local investor, which we believe understands better, and who for some extent could mitigate our concerns regarding local things, which we do not understand. But I agree.
I think the bad note is like, it's called venture capital. I think there's as little venture as possible, everybody's thinking on the investments. Like, we don't want to do venture. We want to do adventure, but it has to make, has some fundamentals. And I think that's what's being created only on round A sort of investments. So you can't just jump over this part of the business, this part of development of the business.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's, so maybe also let's talk about some of the areas to improve during your interactions with the entrepreneurs. So first, how could they do better in terms of impressing you and in terms of securing an investment with you guys? So that kind of the other part of the question, obviously, what do you guys look for in the company, in the team, and in the deal? So again, let's start with the early stage first, and let's go from there, because it's, I think it will be a good progress there.
I mean, we had the pleasure of listening this morning to 66 startups. Most of them are really early stage. Very impressive.
To you, even for you.
Yeah, it was some of them I didn't know. I mean, I have to admit, nearly 1/3, half of them we knew already. So that's our job as well. We have to look for the deals. And I mean, what I experienced is I knew some of them are good, but the pitch was horrible. So there's something, I mean, Ozan gave some advice for some cases where it may make sense to train the pitching. Pitching is a different story from the facts. So this is something to be trained. This is just something how to talk to investors, something. But this is just the surface. The other part is do something for long and do it professional. I mean, if you set up something in an early stage, it's not just a great idea and you can expect you do it for the investors, and half a year later you can do your next big idea. It's maybe 5% idea or whatever, and then the next 4 years, 8 years maybe, let's say 4 years is hopefully the term, you have to focus on that, and you have to be credible from the very beginning. Don't make a show to the investors. Be authentic, be yourself. I mean, it's their job a little bit to add the components which are missing. So you may be a very good engineer, okay, be a good engineer, but then you should have someone in your team, or at least from the advisory board, from the investors, who's, let's say, adding the function which is missing. So that is one part. The other way around, you may be a very good salesperson, but it should not prevent you from having a good product and very solid knowledge about the basics of the business. Trust the professionals and do the business from the very beginning as professional as possible. You don't have much money, I know it, but don't go for a stupid Mali Mushafe who normally just deals with restaurants or something. Don't go for underpaid lawyers which are not setting up the contracts properly. You will never have an exit. You need to do everything, back office, product development, marketing, PR, everything needs to be professional from the very beginning. This costs money, yes. This will be supported by the investor, but otherwise it's a dead end. It's just a lifestyle business. So don't do the mistake to make everything too much hands-on. Make it professional, show up professional, and then continue like that.
That's great.
I think, almost everything applies also to the future round of growth stage. I think on our side, there was like a beautiful quote from the professor like an hour ago. Angels don't act as VCs. I would say, and revert it a bit, founders, please do not treat VCs like angels. We're not expecting to make 30 times X exit because you can't control jackpot. The only thing that you can control is your regular business and how you grow it. So basically make it as reliable as possible. If you're showing the business case that you're growing 5 times every year for another 5 years, and then you're afraid of some liquidation preference of whatever, more than one, then it makes you absolutely not credible, because even if you do 20% of your case, you would not be worried about this liquidation preference. So get your, let's say, understand how venture capitals do deals, how they make money, how they protect their investment, and be credible. And by being credible is from the business case through how you organize yourselves, how you present it, how realistic is your expansion model, whether at the same time think how big is the potential within Turkey versus how you're going to go out. Because like some of the businesses, they have like, there's no reason why would you even be in Turkey or develop it here, except for the thing that you live here. And some others having like great expansion potential, not knowing, you know, the other markets, the competition, and not exploring local opportunities. So basically I would say, get yourself credible, get yourself a help of business angels that can make it also credible. And I would say one more from our standpoint, if it's like from outside of Turkey, get at least 2 venture capitals to invest to you at the same time. Do the co-investments. We will feel much more comfortable with anybody but us putting money, of like fresh money into the company.
Okay. Any thoughts, Victor?
I overall support a lot of statements guys said. Also, I would add that in the morning I have seen there were 66 speeches, and I do like that some of them were able to demonstrate the timeline of their progress. And so it's actually very convenient because you can see how the company became to the idea, how they move along, how their idea evolves, and what they have achieved up to date, and what they're going to do. It's very helpful also later when you follow up us, because, for example, if you see some company half a year later or a year later, and what you do, you open their previous plans and see if guys are able or were able to move along their plans adequately. It increases their chances by 10 times, like something like this. Also, if it's a round company, it would be nice to have somebody invested as an angel or seed investor, somebody from that domain of expertise, so someone with deeper understanding of the space already trusted to this team and so on. Also, we do love serial entrepreneurs, but it's kind of very rare asset in any country, maybe except for United States, like just, so it helps.
Boris, would you allow me one addition? Because I mean, we are talking about what can you improve as a startup. I mean, I'm in the middle because I'm kind of moderating investors and startups. And I would like to say something the other direction as well, because I believe at investor side, I can give nearly the same advice. Be professional. We have heard very much from David now what it means to be a professional investor. Don't be an angel investor if you don't intend to do this for the next 4 to 8 years. Don't be an angel investor if you don't intend to invest in at least 20 deals. Don't be an angel investor, let's say if the minimum ticket size is 25,000 lira, don't start to be an angel investor if you can't put aside and forget about 500,000 tele to 1 million tele. But the most important thing is show up to meetings, answer your emails, be consistent, be honest and supportive for the startup. It's not done with showing up once in a meeting, and it's not a social gathering. It is something, it's actually a little bit like, it's a job. So we are doing something serious. We are trying to support the startups, and they need the support. And if they are coming to the angels, they're not just coming for the money. There are some other sources normally as well. They're coming because they need advice, coaching. So at the investor side, be serious with what you do. Be a serious investor. That is as important as it is on the startup side to be professional. Otherwise, the ecosystem doesn't come together.
Okay. I mean, so this was really good, actually. There were a couple of good highlights in terms of getting their processes, corporate governance clean, working with the professional people in terms of their legal or any kind of intermediary, right? And in terms of their pitch, needs to be crisp, clean, to the point. And then you were talking about, like, you know, in terms of not treating VCs as an angel, which is always missed because they're kind of throwing all that stuff to you in terms expecting to get that at an early stage deal, versus you're expecting a way mature company at that level. So kind of knowing where to go for your funding. So I wanted to also, okay, let's talk about the investment areas. I don't know how much time we got, but so the next wave of opportunities in Turkey, right? We have the first wave of opportunities, some of them raising large amount of rounds in Turkey. A lot of them actually transactional based companies, from Yemek Sepeti, from Gitti Gidiyor to Hepsi Burada. All those guys have been building their business in the last 10 years. And now they're reaping the benefits of either exits or large fundraisings to build larger companies or getting maybe a way bigger scale at big corporations. So with that, what is the next wave of opportunities? What are the core markets in Turkey being reinvented? What are the areas that you see as wide open space? Where are the areas you see where Turkey has maybe more significant advantage compared to the other areas? So you were talking about business innovation versus technology innovation. So if you can talk maybe from that frame point, so it will be really interesting to see where
sure.
you will see the deals
sure.
here.
And we are mostly technology investment funds. So what technology is something like if you are able to make this and you have high chance to compete for this for consumers globally without market risk. So I guess that more than half of our investments are technology companies, not B2C companies, even not B2B companies. So it's because of the background of our partners and our advisors. For example, we have our advisor, one of advisors is author of a Java programming language, James Gosling, or open encryption protocol realized at Sun Microsystems. It's Quiz of LDFI. So we do really love technology because it's kind of somewhat self enough. And we divide innovation could be business innovation when something is, for example, it was not used in Turkey and then we started to use it here. And innovation could be technological. And I think actually that Turkey has some potential in terms of technology startups because of a few reasons. The first reason is that I think that early and founding in place of companies which already established in Turkey, some of those in place could leave companies and start to think about own companies. That's what we observed in Russia and Ukraine and so on. That's good. You have just to wait. Also, a second opportunity is that actually we were talking about potential of going global from Turkey, and it's more interesting for us. We think that companies which actually, Turkey has some kind of trap like Russia. So it's a large country with a big population and high per capita income. So many people start to think, okay, let's do something for Turkey. I think that it looks like it's easier, but actually it's tough. And a lot of entrants move to the same space. You have to compete and still in the same market and so on. So if people will be thinking more broadly, more ambitious, they could start thinking about innovation on a global scale. Of course, it's tough, it's more complicated, but potentially it's more rewarding. Also, I think that the third direction of opportunity for Turkey is that, I don't know, actually we don't know it in details, but technology companies, you have to be in line with global frontier of technologies, so you have to observe them in some way. And for example, in Russia and for example in Ukraine, 40% of software engineers work for offshore companies, and they therefore develop understanding of the frontiers of the technology in the United States and Europe. And so it works that way, that after this, those guys, ambitious enough, they decide to found something. For example, a few companies in our portfolio emerged that way. Guys were working for companies like Intel, like Google, and like IBM from Russia, and they discovered something and started to do own business. So I think there's upside for Turkey in this direction.
Okay. You were asking, Barış, about the new wave. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to be like very much old-fashioned online businesses like e-commerce and marketplaces. This is what we do. This is what we do the best. I think there's still lots of potential in verticals. So it's going to be lots of still marketplaces being developed in the verticals that's not there yet. So if you have a good one, bring it to me. But I think there's also like a couple of other things like Internet of Things, which I believe heavily, but it's going to also support the marketplaces. I believe in big data, not as a buzzword, but as something that would actually not try to crack the system and build the artificial intelligence, but actually support the behavior or support the personalization of sites and the shopping. And I think eventually there's like one notion, which is like, I think taking over now Western Europe, coming maybe in Turkey in a few years. I think it's going to be back to e-commerce, but on a discounted side. It's basically replication of offline market, which now after all the hypermarkets now it all grows to the discount stores, and it's more than 50% now of the grocery in a couple of countries. So I think it's coming also here. So we're gonna do the turnaround and then go back to old-fashioned e-commerce, but very differently positioned. So these are the areas of expertise of us, so this is how we look at it.
So innovation on the economic model in the e-commerce.
So innovation, as long as it helps you to get more customer or get more revenue of the same customer, not to spend money every time he or she looks for something. Okay. So I support this type of software innovation, but not necessarily very breakthrough idea of what's going to be next.
Let me go one step back, because as angels we have to do something where we can finance the market as well. E-commerce is for us getting very difficult, because actually the market structures are so settled that you need really money which is outside the range of most angels or angel networks just to finance it. So we have actually 3 areas we are interested in. The first one is big data as well, so I don't repeat this one. This becomes very interesting and it's accessible for market niches. In a broader sense, I love B2B, let's say, B2B business, and I believe there's plenty of room to grow. I mean, a lot of startups we are seeing, they have something from their own perspective, they have a consumer perspective. I want to see a B2B perspective, and if you develop something specific solutions, IT solutions, software solutions, cloud-based, that is something we love. I mean, something in that direction, software as a service, B2B sector, that is something very interesting. It may include big data, it may be separated, but this is something interesting. And the third area is completely outside of the digital world, actually. So there's a lot of potential in Turkey which is outside of real estate, finance sector, and maybe the digital world. So what we are trying to do in the moment, we are setting up something, it's called Start Now 101. It's a pre-seed program, and we try to do this, for example, in Izmir, with the Izmir universities in the area of life sciences. I don't speak about health solutions. This is a very, very complex, very expensive and long-lasting market. It's too much for angels, but there's a lot of areas in life sciences where we try to attract local investors to local startups. It can be Turkey-wide, but we start in this part where we believe life sciences is something where Turkey has a future and a special edge, and it can succeed.
That's great. I want to open up for questions. We don't have, okay, we got at least one.
I'll go for one.
Does anyone have any questions, especially entrepreneurs, for a whole set of investors on the panel? Can't see any.
I think they want to catch you one-on-one and pitch you, which is scary, but...
Okay.
We're going to hang out. We're going to hang out.
Yeah.
Okay, all right then. Please join me thanking our panelists, and
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Thank you.